Kim. Welcome to my channel. We're going to pick up where we left off on the previous video, but I do want to say that as a new YouTube, a newbie YouTube creator, I've made some boo-boos. So this is a different base than what we started out with. I recorded another video using the same base that we were using previously, and I lost all my footage. So what I created with that base, I went ahead and finished it, is this little guy. This is the base that we started with, and that's what he turned out to look like. And then I had made another one previous to that, and that's this little guy, little Siberian Husky. And both of these will be on my eBay store, hopefully today. But there he is. So I thought what we would do with this one, I think I'm going to make an Australian Shepherd. So let's get started on the snout here. And I try to find the best position for the snout, and I think this is the best position. I hope everyone's doing well today. Today is Monday, January the 16th is when I'm filming this. Hopefully I'll be able to edit this video and get it out this afternoon and not lose all my footage. I'm filming and editing and uploading on my phone, and evidently my phone doesn't have enough memory to do some of that, so I've had to delete a lot of things off my phone to free up memory, and in doing that I think I lost all my footage. So we'll try this again. I guess I'm going to have to get me a computer. I don't have one. I have one for my work, but I don't have one for personal use. And I don't want to use my work computer for personal use, so I will have to purchase one, I reckon. But we're just going to just keep needle felting this. I'm not wearing my finger protectors today. Probably should put those on before I poke myself. But we're just going to try to get something that resembles a muzzle here of a dog. Sometimes I'll take pictures, and normally because of all my animals turn out to be very cartoonish, I tend to look for pictures that are like stuffed animals or cartoon pictures, something like that. But I can still use real photos, real pictures off the web to kind of gauge what I'm looking for in coloring and the shapes. An Australian Shepherd is one of my favorite dogs. I love their coats, the different colors, and their blue eyes. They're just beautiful dogs. I love animals. I love all animals, birds, all of nature. We don't have any pets inside, but we do have a cat outside. And when I feed him a combination of wet and dry food. But when I feed him and I go out, there's a mockingbird that every time I come out, they know what I'm doing, and they eat cat food. They eat the dry cat food. So he'll sit on this tree really close to the garage door when I go out, and he waits patiently for the cat to get finished, and then he'll finish eating the rest of the dry food. Well, I've got now where I'll just go throw him some, and he'll sit on that little tree and just wait for me to throw him some on the ground, and he comes right down and gets it, and he gets really close to me and the cat, and he doesn't act like he's scared at all. I'll post a little picture in the video so you can see that a lot of times I'll go out to take the trash out, and I'll just sit the little canister that I put the dry cat food in on this little glass table next to the door, and he flew right down and got on top of that little canister and was just standing on top of it, like waiting for me to come put food out. I've always said I want to be Snow White. I want to be able to talk to the animals and feed all the animals. And as you can see, we've got something that resembles a muzzle. We have plans to go to my mother's today. My mother is 78 years old, and she lives about 10 miles from us. And she had a house fire on Christmas Eve, and even though it didn't do extensive damage, she's still misplaced. She's been displaced. She's not in the house right now. She's going to actually sell it. The damage was too much for her to afford to fix, and she didn't want to fool with it, so she's going to go ahead and sell it, and we have to go up there and help her salvage through some of her belongings and some of my son's belongings. He liked to stay with his nanny, so sometimes he'd spend the night up there, and so he does have quite a bit of things up there that we need to pick up, some shoes and clothing and video games and things like that. So we are planning on doing that, and we've got it's not, I guess, new now, but it's new to us because we haven't been there, but they have a pizza ranch that is in Hendersonville, and my mother lives in Goodlettsville, so we're going to try the pizza ranch after we get done at her house. And on my next video, I'll give you a review, let you know if it's any good or not. Never been there. It's been open for months now, but my son went with his nanny once, and they liked it pretty well, so we're gonna give it a go. But now that we've got this little muzzle, we're going to add some cheeks. I know I keep getting out of frame, so I apologize for that. I'm trying really hard to position myself on this little table, and my forearms are on the edge of the table, and it's really hard to go way out here and try to leverage to needle felt. So I apologize if I'm going off frame. All newbie things that I'll eventually work out. And I may not do a whole lot of tutorials unless somebody just really wants to see a different process. I might just show finished products and the stop motion video like at the beginning of my intro video. I'm very interested in doing that, so I might feature my little creations in different little stop motion video cartoons. But I will come on and show everybody what I've been making and what I used to make them with, and definitely going to show you my paper crafting, my little boxes, how I make those. I'm sure you've seen a million videos with people making boxes, but I'm going to show you how I do mine and the embellishments that I put on my box. There's so many channels that I get inspiration from that are not specifically needle felting or card making, or there's so many that do scrapbooking and journaling, that because of everything that I do is on a small scale, kind of fits in with what I do, so I enjoy watching those, and I take a lot of inspiration from some of their videos and get ideas of what I can do with my embellishments. But that's kind of how I make my cheek here. My hand is falling asleep here with my elbow, my forearm on the corner of this table, so I'm going to cut it here. I'll do the second cheek and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. See you in a minute. Okay, everyone, I finished the second side, and this is what we have now. You can see that. And my son is so funny. Wade, he came in here one day and he was, saw this a base that looks similar to this. Almost all my bases start out like this, and he said, "What are you making, a duck?" And I said, "No, I'm making a dog. But if you look at this, it could be a duck." It could be almost anything. You can just look at it and see that you could change it into almost any animal you wanted to. So today we are going to do an Australian Shepherd. So here I have some wool, and I am going to use wool today because it has this variegated look to it that looks like an Australian Shepherd. It has some of the darker pieces in it, like the merle color of an Australian Shepherd. I will link the store, the Etsy store that I got this off of. It is a very clean, not very much vegetation wool. There will be vegetation in wool from time to time, but this lady really does a good job of getting most of that vegetation out. And because most Australian Shepherd pictures that I've seen, we have the white right here usually, and they have the color around their cheeks. So we're going to cover this with the cheeks with this, and kind of move on to the back of the head and cover that. And you can already start seeing where you're going with it. It is a little bit more difficult to cover when you have a very rigid, I guess you could say, surface, because I needle felt so tightly. I like to have a solid base, so it does get harder to poke because it is almost like a plaster. Once you get to a certain stage, it's so tightly felted. But I like that because I'm always scared about, I think I talked about in my previous video about the air that seeps back in, and I don't want it to lose its structure, so I try to needle felt as tight as I can so the structure will have a, will not let the air seep in and start to warp the figure. And I've heard other people that do tutorials say not to make it really tight because you could break your needle off into the project, but I rarely ever break a needle. I'll use the same needle for years. You just have to really be careful when you're poking that you don't break it off. Like I said, I probably jinxed myself, and now I'll break a needle off. It'll be the first time in years that I've done that. And we're going to cover the other side. And we're just going to carry it up a little bit to make the little white strip. And as you can see, the variegation in it looks like the merle color of a Australian Shepherd. And I think what I'll do here is stop the video and finish that, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like. See you in a minute. Okay, everybody, I'm back, and here's what we've got so far. You can see some of that variegated coloring in there. So now we're going to cover the body part. And Australian Shepherds are all different. They have different colorings to them, but we're going to stick with this variegated gray looking color. We are going to add some brown, some of that orangey brown coloring they have to them around the eyes. And I'm going to do that with artist chalk. I don't know if I said in my previous video, because I've made a couple of videos that I've had to delete, or I did delete by accident. But a friend of mine at work, she went to this store that's like a Salvation Army or a Goodwill store, and they take donations, craft donations, like different craft items, and they resell it, and all the proceeds goes to mentally handicapped organizations. And because my son has mental disabilities, that was always a place that I loved that she would go to, and she frequented pretty often. And she was there one day, and she's a crafty friend um, like me. And anytime we're out and about and we see something that we think the other person would like, sometimes we pick it up, just to give as a gift, or just say, hey, I saw this and I thought of you. And this store a lot of times had these sales where they had these little, the little shopping baskets, and you could fill the whole basket up, and it would cost you $20. And you could get whatever you wanted to in that basket. Well, she saw these chalks, and it's made by a company called Stampin' Up, and I'm sure if you're a paper crafter, you know all about Stampin' Up. It's a very well-known brand. They do a lot of, now they do mostly inks, kind of like the Tim Holtz type inks and stuff like that, but I guess back then they were using chalk to do their stamping. And she bought me this kit that had, I think it's 36 or maybe 48, I think maybe it's 48 different chalks, colors, and she thought I might enjoy it. Well, I do, but not for paper crafting. I use it on these little animals to color them. The chalk goes on perfectly. It goes on smooth. It doesn't come off. It stays on. It's just amazing chalk. And since then, I bought several more kits off of eBay. I don't think they sell them in the stores or anything, or online anymore, unless you go to eBay. But I bought several more sets on eBay because I didn't want to run out, because I loved them so much. I'm sure most people are like that. All these crafters that I see hauling things, when they see something that's a good deal, a good price, or something they really like, they know they better get quite a few, because if they don't, they're going to discontinue them, or they won't be on sale anymore, and it'll be hard to get. So I did pick up several more kits to make sure I had enough to last me a long time. But I will be using that to kind of embellish on this little guy here. And as you can see, we've got the body and the head covered. And it does have that variegation there that looks like an Australian Shepherd. And I think what I'll do here is add the nose, just so you can get a vision of it. And then we'll call this a video, and we'll come back and finish this little guy up. But there's what he looks like so far. Now let me go grab my black, and I'll be right back. Okay, and I'm back. I'm sorry, I apologize for that. I didn't have my black here handy. This black is a wool, but I normally use that. I think I was talking about it in my first video. The buffalo bats. It's the Halloween. I think it's called buffalo hay, that they use at Halloween, that I have found at Michael's, and I think Joann's had it, but Michael's mostly. But this is wool here. And I kind of just try to make a little bit of a nose shape before I put it on, because when you needle felt it onto the snout, it will push those fibers up into the snout, and sometimes it'll come up in here and it'll show through. So I try to needle felt it a little bit, so to keep it from doing that. And then we'll just add it on here. And you can see as those fibers attach, it will come through here a little bit. Because you can see my needle going through that, so you can see how that has come through. Sometimes I'll pull it out just a little bit, and then sometimes I'll also clip it. I use my little pair of snips and kind of clip that part off, or maybe I'll fill it in with a little more white so it doesn't show through as much. And I'll sculpt this muzzle again as I'm going. And no, my noses, the nose that I put on my animals are not realistic looking. Like I said, they're more cartoon, like you would see on a Mickey Mouse or Pluto. Very pronounced, large noses. I'll just keep sculpting it until it looks like I want it to look. And just keep defining, keep sculpting until you get a shape that you like. And sometimes, you know, you don't like the way it turns out, just don't give up. Just keep on adding and taking away and sculpting, and before you know it, it'll be something really cute. But that's what we have so far. And I'll come back tomorrow and we'll finish the face and add the ears. And then I'll show you how I make my limbs, but I'm probably not going to give you a full tutorial on all 4 limbs because that would be very time consuming. So I'll show you how I make the limbs and then come back and show you the finished product. But here's what we have right now, and I appreciate everybody taking the time to watch my videos. I truly appreciate you all. Thank you. I wish you would hit that like button and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. I really do appreciate it. And with that, I'll say goodbye. See you next time. Bye.